The rain came down hard that evening, drenching the cracked pavement and washing grease into dark streams beneath the flickering lights of a forgotten auto repair shop. Inside, a man worked with shaking hands, his knuckles bruised and blackened, his breath shallow from exhaustion. He did not know that this single repair, this one unwanted job, would drag his buried past into the open and change his life forever. He did not know that the woman waiting outside in the back seat of a luxury car carried a memory that still whispered his name in the quiet corners of her heart. If you believe in kindness, second chances, and the idea that life can still surprise us when we are at our lowest, take a moment right now to like this video, comment your thoughts, share it with someone who needs hope, and subscribe to the channel. Your support helps stories like this reach hearts that need them. Ethan Cole had once dreamed big, the kind of dreams that made sleep feel too short and mornings feel too close. But dreams had a way of breaking when life demanded rent, diapers, and hospital bills. At 38, Ethan was a single father to a 6-year-old boy named Noah, a child with curious eyes and a laugh that felt like sunlight in a dark room. Noah was the reason Ethan kept going even when his body begged him to stop, even when his hands trembled from overwork and his heart felt heavy with regret. Ethan's days began before sunrise and ended long after dark, balancing 2 jobs and still finding time to help with homework, cook dinner, and read bedtime stories in a voice worn thin by fatigue. The repair shop was not his dream job. It was a place others avoided, a struggling business on the edge of the city where luxury cars rarely ventured, and hope seemed to leak from the walls. Ethan had taken over the shop after its owner passed away, inheriting debt along with rusted tools and broken promises. Customers were scarce, bills relentless, and each month felt like a test he was failing by inches. Yet Ethan stayed because it paid just enough, and because walking away would mean dragging Noah into uncertainty he could not bear. That night, a luxury car arrived like a ghost from another world. Its polished surface reflected the neon sign outside, a symbol of wealth and power completely out of place in Ethan's reality. The car had broken down miles from the nearest dealership, and no one else would touch it. The engine was complex, expensive, and intimidating, the kind that made mechanics shake their heads and refuse the job. But Ethan said yes without hesitation. He always said yes, because saying no meant empty cupboards and overdue notices taped to his door. As he worked, rain pounding against the roof, Ethan felt the familiar ache in his back and the sharper pain of memory pressing in. He remembered a time when his hands were steady and his future bright, when he had worn clean clothes and spoken confidently in rooms filled with opportunity. That life felt distant now, like a dream he had once borrowed and never returned. The woman in the back seat waited silently, her presence known only by the faint glow of her phone through tinted glass. She was not impatient, not angry, just watching. Her name was Claire Harrington, the CEO of a global tech empire, a woman whose decisions moved markets and shaped futures. To the world, she was powerful and untouchable, but inside, she was unsettled. The moment she saw the mechanic step out under the rain-soaked light, something stirred in her chest. There was a familiarity she could not place, a feeling that refused to be ignored. Ethan worked for hours, dismantling and rebuilding the engine with care that went beyond the paycheck. He treated the car the way he treated everything he touched, with quiet respect and relentless effort. His thoughts drifted between torque settings and memories of Noah's smile, of the promise he had made to always come home. When the engine finally roared back to life, the sound cut through the rain like a declaration. He wiped his hands on a rag, relief washing over him, unaware that eyes were fixed on him with growing recognition. Claire stepped out of the car once it was repaired, the rain softening to a mist, as if the world itself had paused. She studied Ethan's face under the dim lights, the lines of exhaustion, the familiar shape of his brow, the eyes that once held ambition and warmth. Time folded in on itself, and the years between them dissolved. She remembered a young man who had helped her when she was nobody, who believed in her ideas when no one else did, who disappeared from her life without explanation, and without thinking, without realizing the weight of the moment, she whispered his name from the past. Ethan froze. The sound of his name spoken that way, carried with memory and disbelief, hit him harder than any physical blow. He looked up slowly, confusion giving way to shock as recognition dawned. Claire, the woman he had once loved from a distance, the woman whose future had been too bright to risk dimming with his own failures. He had walked away years ago, believing it was the only way to let her soar, seeing her now powerful and composed, while he stood soaked in oil and rain, stirred a storm of emotions he had buried deep. The air between them was heavy with unspoken truths. Claire's success had come at a cost she rarely acknowledged, and Ethan's sacrifice had shaped both their lives in ways neither fully understood. She learned in fragments about Noah, about the nights Ethan slept in his shop to save money, about the way he carried responsibility like a second skin. And Ethan learned that Claire had never stopped wondering why he vanished, never stopped measuring her success against the emptiness his absence left behind. The days that followed blurred together as Claire found reasons to return to the shop. Each visit peeled back layers of the past, revealing pain, regret, and resilience. She saw the man Ethan had become, not broken but bent, shaped by love and hardship into someone stronger than she remembered. Ethan struggled with pride and fear, unsure how to stand in her world without feeling small. He worried about Noah, about disrupting the fragile stability he had built, about hoping for something he had once given up. Life tested Ethan relentlessly. The shop faced closure when a supplier demanded payment he could not afford. Noah fell ill, the hospital bills stacking higher than his courage. There were moments when Ethan sat alone after Noah slept, staring at the ceiling and wondering how much more he could endure. Yet each time he felt ready to collapse, something unexpected happened. A new customer arrived. A bill was delayed. Claire showed up with quiet support, never offering charity, only opportunity. She invested the shop without fanfare, turning it into a certified service center that brought steady business and fair wages. She insisted on transparency, on respect, on growth that did not erase Ethan's dignity. For the first time in years, Ethan felt hope that did not immediately come with fear. He watched Noah laugh with the shop employees, watched his son's world expand, and realized that survival had slowly transformed into possibility. But healing is never simple. Ethan grappled with guilt over the past, with the belief that he had no right to step back into Claire's life. Claire wrestled with anger she had buried under success, with questions about whether forgiveness could truly mend what was broken. Their journey was not one of instant redemption, but of patient understanding, of choosing honesty over silence. The turning point came one quiet evening when the shop lights glowed warm against the dark street, and Ethan realized he was no longer alone in carrying the weight of his life. He had built something real, something honest, not despite his struggles, but because of them. Claire saw in Ethan a reminder of who she had been before ambition hardened her edges, and in Noah she saw a future that felt personal, not measured by profit or headlines. As months passed, the shop thrived, and Ethan's shoulders seemed lighter. He stood taller, spoke with confidence he thought he had lost forever. Noah's laughter filled spaces once silent, and Claire learned to slow down, to be present, to let kindness guide decisions again. The whisper of Ethan's name that night in the rain had been more than recognition. It had been a call to unfinished truth. Just before this story ends, take a moment to comment below and share what part of Ethan's journey resonated with you the most. Your words matter more than you know. In the end, Ethan understood that life does not reward perfection, only perseverance. He learned that walking away does not erase love, and that returning does not mean failure. Claire learned that success feels hollow without connection, and that some of the most important investments are made with the heart, not the wallet. Together, they discovered that the past does not define us unless we let it, and that even the most broken roads can lead to something beautiful. If this story touched your heart, if it made you feel hope, sadness, or warmth all at once, please like this video, share it, and engage with the channel. Your support helps keep these stories alive, reminding us all that kindness has a way of coming back when we need it most.